Guncraft. And right now this is just for Windows, but they're planning versions for Mac and also Linux.
Linux.
Yeah.
Yay.
Well, you can see just from looking at the screen, it's got a similar look to Minecraft. It's obviously Guncraft. It's basically Minecraft with guns. There's a lot of different changes. Crafting's not the same. The graphics are good. They don't look like Minecraft, which is ridiculously amazing for an 8-bit type looking game.
Right. Like the textures are a little bland, but I think that they are working on like adding texture packs and stuff like that.
It's new. It's fairly new.
Right. It's very new. The community is still growing, still very sort of in its early stages. But one of the nice things about Guncraft is that it takes its inspiration, which is clearly Minecraft, and it uses that to to just amazing uses it in amazing ways. It gives you a level editor that also functions as a gun editor.
Yeah, that part's cool.
And a prefabrication editor. I'll explain all this later. So a gun editor, a prefabrication editor, and to an extent a skin editor as well.
Well, the two parts that were my favorite of that was one, of like all the things you just mentioned. One was the prefab editor.
Well, let's explain what those are.
Yeah, so the prefab editor is basically the idea that you can build a object, be it a building, a bunker, a wall, a tunnel, whatever you want to build. You build it prior to the game start, and assuming you have the resources and the money to build it in the game, you can then hit just one button that just starts the building process. So you don't have to sit there and place each block manually.
Right.
You have these prefabricated objects saved to your inventory.
Right. It spawns bit by bit something you built before.
Yeah, so it doesn't just like appear and it's not that overpowered or broken. It slowly builds it, but it's really useful, especially because you can leave and come back to it and it'll be done.
Exactly. I mean, like you could build, if you wanted to, like a tower, which would then give you a great vantage point to take out your enemies with. And just like put that in the middle of the map, have it go all the way up after you've earned some money, of course.
Because you can snipe. You can snipe.
Oh yeah, no, you can absolutely snipe because this is a first-person shooter game in a sort of similar vein to Team Fortress 2.
Yeah.
Because like it has a whole class system. Oh, that's another thing. You can also edit the classes as well.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. It lets you edit what gun you have.
The giant eagle.
Oh yeah.
There was a gun that was just an eagle that you just held and it just fired lasers, I think. But it was just. It took up like half the screen because someone decided they were going to make a giant eagle, size it down to fit like 1 foot in your hand, and then all over the screen.
Actually, let's explain that. So the reason that there was an eagle gun isn't because they built an eagle gun; it's because they let you build an eagle gun.
Yeah. To an extent, though, because you guys were explaining to me, I didn't figure this out on my own, that you build a gun, but the community has to vote on it.
Right.
And so it's not, is this gun like good or bad or appropriate. I think it was originally so that people weren't making like inappropriate weapons, but now it's kind of become, if the community doesn't really like it, you can't play with that gun even if there's nothing wrong with it.
Right. No, although there are certain things that, like there are mistakes that get made a lot when you're building a gun that you just forget about, that people deny you for. Like you have to have a space on the gun that allows you to identify your team color. Like it'll change the color of the gun. And if you forget to put that on, then they can just like say, no, we don't want your gun on the marketplace. Because the game lets you build any kind of thing you want as your gun, like as big as you want, as small as you want. But if it gets too big, people probably will say, no, we don't want you to have that as your gun.
Right.
If it gets too small, they'll say, no way, I can't see what you're shooting me with.
Which is nice, actually, because it allows the community to kind of set their own rules and guidelines for what's okay and
right,
what's
exactly.
not.
And like they give you some pointers, like to say, look, if you're thinking about saying no to a gun, here are some reasons why you probably should or shouldn't.
Right.
Yeah, and they're pretty comprehensive. It's pretty useful to go through, and like because it lets you. There's a whole section that says vote on skins or vote on guns, and you just go through and it gets updated all the time. Like you have a whole page and you say yes or no and why. Like it's great. Like as of recently, you don't just say no. You say no and here's why.
Okay.
Which is great, and I think the feedback goes to the player who made it, which is great.
Before we jump into like what the kind of what the map is like and what you can do and what type of games you can play within it, I just want to say real quick that like you were saying, I think Team Fortress 2 and Minecraft, it's kind of like a perfect overlap. That's the perfect analogy in my opinion. You've got the Team Fortress 2 restricted. It's not open world in the sense that Minecraft you just keep going in one direction.
Right, it's an instance.
And the world keeps spawning. So you do have a very limited world, and you can, obviously in Team Fortress 2 you can't fall into lava off the side of the earth. But in Guncraft you do just keep walking until you fall off the edge, and it lets you, and that counts as a death. So it's interesting because it's a spin-off between the two.
So the gameplay is very interesting because obviously it has like some classic modes like deathmatch, team deathmatch, capture the flag, and even Swarm, which is or Onslaught, I think it is.
That's the best weapon.
Okay,
That's my favorite weapon
so
right there.
here on the screen, you can see we have terrain destruction because this is Minecraft-ish. So anything that you see can be broken. So this guy was up there. I saw him. I used my rocket launcher to blow up the ground, and then I got him because he just had no cover. I got rid of his cover, which is great. So over here you can see the kill cam. So if you die, whoever killed you, you see out of their eyes for like 2 seconds, which is great.
Like Call of Duty.
Yeah, a little like Call of Duty. It lets you scope out what they're doing, how they're playing.
You see where your vulnerabilities are and what you're not doing right.
Right. And like Call of Duty, you have iron sights. You don't exactly zoom in. You have iron sights. So it's a little bit of a visual improvement. You get to zoom in a little, but you still see the world around you. And there I go. Died.
You know what I really liked about the game is the availability of the weapons and the different options you have. You've got, I mean, and the realisticness to an extent, you know, in an 8-bit game of like the grenades. You throw a grenade, it's a grenade made of a bunch of smaller little blocks. Like if
Right.
you know, in Minecraft, everything's made out of one standard size block. These grenades are made out of really little blocks, but when you blow them up, these little blocks go flying. The
Same
ground
with
goes
guns, by
flying
the
in
way.
bigger blocks. Yeah, no, definitely. And it's pretty cool to see. And the you know, you can have a zipline gun. You can have a what's the
Grappling hook.
a grappling hook.
Oh yeah.
You can pull yourself into places and snipe people from up there. There are vehicles to drive. It's got
Oh,
a
yeah,
lot
like,
of availability.
There are some vehicles. Oh, like here you can see the grappling hook.
Yeah,
Zooming up.
and then it pulls you up there.
Yep, and I screwed up over there. but one of the nice things is there is no fall that you can't survive because you have a parachute which you can activate at any time as you're falling.
If you don't activate it, though, then you will die.
Well, right. Like if you don't activate it, you're gonna die. But and it makes you a little bit vulnerable because you're just standing. You can't really move very much
Yeah.
while you're falling. But you can, if you have enough time, as I did over there before we cut away. You can charge up your next hook shot kind of deal.
Right.
And as you're falling, you can just fly away somewhere else.
So there's like team deathmatch. That's like a classic kind of thing. There's capture the flag,
Capture the
and then
flag.
we've also got races. Right, you can get in vehicles and race people.
Right,
around.
that's something really interesting is that every map that you build, because you can obviously build your own maps.
Right,
just
and
like
there's also
Minecraft.
preloaded ones.
Right, they also have preloaded ones, and eventually be able to share maps with people around the world. And you can't share your guns yet, but eventually, people whose guns have been approved, you'll be able to actually access yourself, which is pretty cool.
Well, one thing I like, sorry, I know I've changed the topics a lot. I went from like, let's not get into this, and then I got right into it.
Yeah.
But about the guns, just back to that, you can create a gun that looks however you want, but you don't just get to say, this explodes the whole map. It's a nuclear missile gun, and it's just so OP. Like, you can't design that.
Right.
Yeah, you're basically designing the look of your gun, but not exactly its capabilities.
They are apparently going to let you alter the capabilities of the gun based on a 100-point scale. So, like, it's going to give you attributes for the gun, which start at 0, 100 points to put into those attributes. So, like, you can say accuracy, you can make that 100, or you can make that, like, 80. But regardless, as you were saying, yeah, there's some really interesting game modes. Like, as you're building a stage, you can build it, like, with different things in mind. You can build it for, like, a deathmatch stage kind of area. You can build it for, like, vehicle combat, or you can build it for vehicle races.
That's my favorite part of the game, especially because I get to lap you guys 5 times. But if you've ever played Mario Kart, which I pray that if you call yourself a gamer, you have. You have the little crystal blocks that you go through and you get an item.
Right.
It's got something kind of like that, and you drive around, and as you go through these boxes, you collect. You basically have a randomized weapon that'll show up and has set amount of ammo. And you can use it for a little while, whether that's to break objects and create a shortcut through the map, because you can just break down a wall and go through that. And I know you guys were trying to do that.
Right.
We were trying to,
which
that
is
was
why
like-
you lapped us.
No, that
5
was like
times.
after you realized I was 3 laps ahead. You were like, we got to create a shortcut quick.
Yeah.
And then it didn't work.
Although it could have with different weapons or on a different map.
Yeah.
It's possible to have created my own shortcut.
Yeah, and then you can also use those weapons to shoot down other players and stun them for 3 or 4 seconds.
Right.
There's also one part of the map we were playing on. You go up a staircase, and your vehicles can only go like up 1 block like at a time. And so what they tried to do was shoot out 1 row of blocks, so I'd have to go up 2, so I'd have to wait and rebuild one. They didn't get all of them. I got up there. And then there was a bridge that led over a giant gap. And they tried to shoot down the bridge so that I couldn't get over the gap without waiting and rebuilding it.
Which did work.
No, I was going fast enough that I just went right over it. But it was a smart idea. So you've got a lot of strategic racing, which is kind of an interesting take on things. But it's kind of open world strategic.
Yeah, yeah. And there are also a lot of modes that sort of are reminiscent of Minecraft. Like there's one mode that is only in this kind of game, which is the goal is because there's a size to every map, right? Every map has its own size, and that's like going out in any direction and also going up and down.
And you can fall off the edges.
Right, you can fall off the edges, or if you build down too much, you hit lava, or you just fall through the stage.
Right.
But there's also a build limit. Like there's just a point where you can't get any higher. Which is like Minecraft to an extent.
Right.
But this one mode is called Lava Survival. Lava starts off at the very, very bottom of the stage, below where you can walk.
Oh,
and it rises slowly. If you touch it, you die, just like Minecraft.
Do you respawn?
No, that's it.
Nope,
You're just
that's
done.
the whole
But when you're dead,
That's super cool.
oh yeah, when you're dead, you can fly around and destroy blocks to hinder other players.
Oh, that's messed up.
Oh, I've had some devilish fun with
That's
that.
that's just like encouraging trolling.
Oh, I
mean, that's like someone builds a barrier and you just take out the floor and they walk into their house and just fall right into that.
Yeah, I've done that. Absolutely, it was fun. But so what you do is you have to build up, right? You have to shoot your enemies, because the only way to earn money is to shoot your enemies and stun them, which is good because if they're stunned, then
the lava rises.
the lava rises and they can die. But that also gets you money, and if you have enough money, you can build prefabs, you can build whatever you want, and you can get to the top of the map. And if you do that and you manage to stay there without like getting pushed off by an opponent or whatever, then you've won the match. That's very sort of special.
So wouldn't it be a good idea to just create a prefab that's like a million blocks
The
tall?
problem with that is that it costs a lot of money. So you have to shoot a lot of people to get
Oh,
enough
that's
money.
true. That's true.
Exactly.
Destroying blocks. Can you get money from destroying blocks in that mode?
No.
So not in that
usually
mode.
you can, but not in that mode. So lots of very cool things.
That's a cool
but
challenge.
yeah, so like we can go on and on. As you can tell, we played the game a lot. We all liked it a lot. But I think, we should tell them exactly how much we liked it. What's the rating, guys?
If I had to give it on again, like what they're going for, I give it a 7. It has a lot of potential. They've got some things to touch up on, but it's got a lot of great potential, and I enjoyed playing it. And the online was great. It just there's further versions will hopefully fix some of the issues.
All right, Jake.
I'm gonna give it a 7.5, but with a tag note that I love this game. If you play first-person shooters or Minecraft, you will love this game, but you might get very angry because there are some problems with it. You can die really easily, but I love this game. Go buy it if you're anywhere interested in Minecraft or first-person shooters.
And just as an ode to as how easy it is to die, I got like 5 kills. I don't get kills in shooting games. Like I finished like 0-80. The fact that I killed 5 people isn't right. Like I shouldn't be able to kill 5 people. But yeah.
All right, Austin.
Yeah, I would also give it 7.5 out of 10. I think I'm definitely going to keep coming back to this game, and I think that it innovates the FPS genre by combining it with Minecraft, if that's the appropriate direction for it. And I think certain modes, especially Onslaught, really let it shine above other FPSs and make it something totally unique, especially the stage destruction and just how altered the map can get while we're playing. It makes it leaves a lot of room for variety, I think.
I completely agree, and I'm going to go a little bit higher than you guys. I want to say 8.5. Not because, like, I agree with everything you guys said, and I understand why you said 7.5, but I'm looking ahead. I'm saying, what are the updates that they're planning? How big is the community getting, like, day by day? And I'm seeing that I think more and more people are going to start voting for guns. The things you can do with your guns and your maps and all that stuff are going to get better with time. I think that sharing your creations with other people around the world, that's going to be a thing soon, and I think that's going to make the game a whole...
The sky's the limit for the potential it has.
Absolutely. So I'm saying 8.5.
All right.
I think that's fair too, because like you said, the community right now isn't that big, so there aren't that many servers right now, and sometimes when there are servers, like the server capacity will be maybe 16 people, but there'll only be like 1 or 2 people there, so as a result, game doesn't get started. But when you do get a game started, it's amazing, and if the community were bigger, then you could reliably get into any game mode you wanted and pretty much find a full server, and that would...
Yeah, and Jake and I saying that it's a 7.5 and a 7 does not mean we didn't like the game more than a 7. I enjoyed it a lot. I know Jake was attached to it like it was a 10. It's just the way that we see the game from a logical standpoint more than like a emotional attachment to the game.
Right, and I'm just looking ahead, and I'm going to say 8.5.
Cool.
All right.